We're really excited to welcome Alexandra Drane, the co-founder and the CEO of ARCHANGELS. Alexandra is a visionary entrepreneur and a caregiver advocate dedicated to supporting 43% of adults who served as unpaid caregivers. With a passion for expanding the definition of health to include life, Alexandra has been a driving force in building community-based solutions to improve well-being. Her extensive experience includes founding Rebel Health, Eliza Corporation, and serving on various boards focused on health and care. Please join me in welcoming Alexandra Drane, a true innovator and champion for caregivers, as she shares her vision for the future of compassionate care.
I am a hot mess. I think the hardest thing about caring so much, and Joe, you said it so beautifully, and thank you to New Cortland and EmpathyTech and the Completely team. Thank you to Mary for introducing us to Joe for your New Cortland team. When you care this much, I'm like sweating and freezing cold at the same time. And I have empathy with all of you because I'm gonna cover way too much. You know, they say you shove 10 pounds of in a 5-pound bag. We're gonna do a 50-minute presentation in 25 minutes. So I hope you all had coffee. I hope you all took care of yourselves, because that's a big theme of today. So as we just learned, over 40% of us are in this role. And I think for a lot of folks, they thought it was 20%. It's 40%, over 40%. This is our data published with the CDC. It's also recently been published by RAND. And I think anyone in this room, it's probably a much higher percentage of folks, as you know. And the thing that's so interesting about unpaid caregivers is they never think of themselves in this role. Right? Not only do they not know what this role means, but actually when they talk about it, if you use the word caregiver, especially with populations who are most in it, they actually don't like the term. So we'll walk through with somebody and say, no, you're an unpaid caregiver. And they're like, I'm not a caregiver. And my favorite thing about it, and if you guys can see this, and I can't either, some of my slides, my glasses on, people will say, I am not a caregiver. And they'll do like a this or a this. And then they'll say, I am just. And then they say those beautiful words I've ever seen in my life. I am just a decent human being, a God-fearing person, a good friend, a good son, a handyman, a person who cares just because. I just think that's the most beautiful thing ever. They're like, I'm not a caregiver, I'm just all the most beautiful things ever. So we use the term archangel. Why? Because it's beautiful. These are like these badass warrior angels who are spreading their wings out over these people that they're caring about. And we want to use strength-based terms and aspirational-based terms. But what I really want to start your day off with today, and thank you so much for the honor of being able to be here first for all of you, is have empathy with yourselves first. Let's all listen to the data I'm about to share and put it in your own bellies. To everything we talk about, think first about how it applies to you, right? Because if you don't put your own air mask on, you're not going to be able to help all the other people, which is, I know, is the reason why you're here and what you guys care about so much. So, of that 43% of adults who are in this role, at least 70% of us have at least one mental health impact: anxiety, depression, stress, suicidal ideation. And I want to talk specifically about the sandwich generation. And my favorite moments I had in the last 5 years was someone came up to me after one of these presentations and said, we talked about it, you know, sandwich generation is caring for one or multiple under 18 at the same time that they're caring for one or multiple over 18. And this beautiful soul said to me, you know, Alex, you just described a sandwich, and when you say sandwich, I think about like a cheese sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's very neat. She said, I am not neat. She said, I am like a hot, cheesy, oozy, burnt around the edges, crispy mess. She said, I want to call myself the panini generation, and I think we should all refer to ourselves as the panini generation. So I love that a theme so far today has already been quotes. I love quotes. I wish I could do like a disclaimer or a warning as I walk through some of the data that again, please put it in your own belly and think about it as it applies to you and the people that you serve, which is to look at suicidal ideation. And this is active suicidal ideation. This is, I've actively thought about how to take my life in the last 30 days. I know many of us have a night that we go to sleep and we're like, ugh, I'm so tired. If I just don't wake up tomorrow, it's fine. That's passive. This is active. And the quote I love is, humans are statistics. Statistics are humans with the tears wiped away. So with that disclaimer, I'm going to split the country into 4 cohorts. The first cohort is not in any caregiver role at all. And as of COVID, 4.5% of this population has actively thought about suicide in the last 30 days. This is a shocking baseline from which we're starting. If you're caring for one or multiple under 18, it doubles. One or multiple over 18, it's 10%. And often people in their head, they're like, oh, I'm caring for a younger or I'm caring for an elder. Guys, there's everything in between, right? You could be caring when you're 18, 22, 24, 35. It's the whole gamut. Now, if you are in that panini generation, what % of individuals have actively thought about suicide in the last 30 days? Take a guess. Not if you know. If you don't know, take a guess. You know I set up the slide, right? Like, I left some space. So what is it? Anyone?
35. 10. 50.
It's 52%. So if you walk into a room of sandwich generation caregivers, it's actually more normal than not that someone has actively thought about suicide in the last 30 days. And we spoke with a reporter at one point, and they said to us, like, Alex, how does that data make you feel? And I said, I find it horrifying and heartening. And this guy visibly recoiled. He said, how could you possibly say the word heartening when you just said 52% of people have actively thought about suicide? And I said, because if you are in this role, you thought you were the only one. And now that you know that you're not, that's the first step to feeling better. And already a theme of today is you're not alone, right? How do we have empathy with each other as we go through these realities? Everyone's always like, we're hockey sticking, we're up and to the right. Wrong kind of hockey stick, right? This is not the hockey stick we want to see. So at Archangels, we use the term intensity. We do not use the word burden. Why? If my delicious, adorable 84-year-old father ever thought he was a burden to me, he would fall on the floor. And for most unpaid caregivers, you don't think of the work you do as a burden. It's an honor. It's hard. There's very bad days. It's intense. So we use the word intensity. And you get put in the clear, in the yellow, or in the red. If you are in the red, you are in the red. 90% have mental health impact. There's a 49% reduction in productivity. And productivity is not just at work. It's productivity in all aspects of your life. It's impacting you. You are in the red. Before COVID, 8% of us were in the red. As of COVID, tripled to 24%. A lot of folks hoped when COVID was over that intensity was going to come down. Did intensity come down? No. Care infrastructure is gone. People are being called back to their offices if they were lucky enough to be able to work from home. And then there's things like inflation. So as of the end of last year, it was 30%. First half of this year, it came down to 27%. I realize I sound like a meteorologist. But you can see that 27% is still higher than that 24%, right? But what about in October? Are you guys feeling it? Do you feel that intensity ticking up as you worry more about the people that you're caring for and the environment that we live in right now? What about Florida? What if you live in Florida in October? We did a webinar, 500 people were on it, in October 15th, and 300 people who were on the webinar got their score, and 54% were in the red. 54%. November 1st through 6th. It doesn't matter if you were in the 51% or the 49%. It has been an unbelievably intense period. And I don't need to go into the details about the holidays. Do things get easier? I was trying to delete slides madly because thank you, Karen, for loving on me as I deleted 80 slides to save you all from the intensity of how much data I want to pour on you right now. But I've got a lot of data if you want to talk about it later about the holidays, the joy of the holidays. So what do we do with all this intensity, people? I know what I do. I don't stop at beer. I'm really good at self-medicating. Unpaid caregivers are fantastic at self-medicating. This is a study we published looking at the use of drugs and alcohol. Legal drugs, legal alcohol. Unpaid caregivers are fantastic. If you need to stay awake all night, you do what you need to do to stay awake all night. If you need to fall asleep because you've got 6 frickin' hours to go to sleep, then you self-medicate with alcohol. That's what I do, right? And that's the way that I fall asleep, and that's the way that I cope. Or maybe you cope with food. People will come to us all the time and say, you know, I gained 70 pounds and I went on anti-anxiety medications and I thought it was because I was weak. How can you say that? And we're like, and they say, but I realize it's because I'm caring. It's because it's intense. And do I wish you all do yoga to deal with your intensity? Absolutely. Eat quinoa, go for long walks. Most caregivers give me the finger or the double finger when I suggest that to them. They're like, oh yeah, I look forward to meditating. Thanks for that. Thanks for that piece of unhelpful advice. My man sent me this sign the other day that he saw. I'm not going to take it as a message of what he was thinking about me when he sent it. Now, what else happens when this is going on? I'm caring for my dad, I have another situation across the country, I have an 18-year-old who yesterday drove himself to the doctor and called me as I landed in Philadelphia to say, I have undiagnosed strep. It's clearly been undiagnosed for 5 weeks. The doctor just wanted to let you know. And I was like, oh. He's like, so when you kept telling me, yeah, you're just stressed about college applications, because we all are. He goes, it's actually strep. I was like, okay. I'm just going to pull over and roll up in a little tight little ball. So when you're stressed like this, who do we take it out on? I take it out on my man, because he's doing just fine. I can't yell at my dad. I can't yell at my kids. Well, sometimes I do. Or this other situation. So I'll often just pick fights with my man. He has learned to use the language back to me. Babe, you're not mad at me. You're just in the red. That word just again. And then I get madder. I'm like, I'm not in the red. I'm mad at you. And then I realize I am just in the red. But look at this, guys. That's another example of that wrong hockey stick. And then what else happens? Then we worry we're going to have to quit our job. And most unpaid caregivers do not want to quit their jobs. Work is respite for them. It's a place, purpose has already come up today. It's a place they go to do other things of purpose. So problem number 1, people don't know they're in this role. Problem number 2, there are resources that exist. Are they perfect? No. But they're a place to start. But if you don't know you're in this role, or you can't find these resources, you're not going to be able to utilize them. And most people are not taking advantage of what is available. They're lucky enough to be employed. These employee resource groups, EAPs, they've got stuff. Again, not perfect, but they have a lot of stuff. And then employers will say to us, well, I don't have a caregiver program. You don't need a freaking caregiver program. Just unbundle what you already have. So here's an example of what an employer in Massachusetts is paying for, as they told us they had nothing for caregivers. Counseling, financial, legal, childcare discounts, assistance with navigation. Then they had a health plan. Their health plan had specialized mental health support, care coordination, nurse hotline. They told us they had nothing. And then there's also stuff that's available through the communities and states for free. Is it perfect? No. Thank you, Representative Khan, for helping to get more resources. Thank you for New Cortland for arguing for this. So what Archangels focuses on is how do we help someone realize they're in this role and get them to these resources that already exist. And we do that with this really straightforward, we are not the resource. We're like this silly little thing that goes in the front just to help connect this interstitial tissue. Because we want to find the people who are really not aware that they're in this role. So believe it or not, between 40 to 50% of caregivers are men. And most people, women take me on this one. They're like, yeah, not in my house. And you know what I say? People do different tasks in different ways, and they're aware of it at different times. So we ran a campaign that said, and apologies, some people think this is a swear, Archangels are badasses for good, and the intensity is real. What's your score? Did we run this, one of our partners, Roman Catholic Archdiocese? No, we did not run this with their team. But we did run it with a lot of other folks. What percentage of men do you think were in the red who responded to this campaign? 43%. So we run campaigns that don't use the word caregiver, because again, most people, and by the way, if you use the word caregiver, we're shameless hustlers. Carer, caretaker, care partner. Whatever it is, use it. But if you're not getting a response from that, try something else. For us, the term Archangels works. What about perimenopausal women? It's one of my favorite topics. Because in the olden days, we're like, oh, menopause, it happens when you turn 50. Boop, you've been through menopause. Like, it doesn't happen like that, actually. It's a 15-year-long process. And we haven't paid attention to it. No one's talked about it. And women are like, not only have 2 to 4x the mental health impact, which, thank you, yes, menopause is something employers should have to sweat too, but it's also impacting all these other aspects of our lives. And guess what we're lucky enough to be right as we're going through menopause? The sandwich generation. So we're not sleeping, we're exhausted, we have mental health impact, and no one's talking about it. We're also incredibly badass as women, by the way. So we ran a campaign, is it menopause, caregiver, intensity, or both? 60% of the folks who responded to this campaign were in the red. What about depression and anxiety? Massively important topic, 42% in the red. Alzheimer's, dementia, 48% in the red. Thank you that we are already talking about addiction and substance use. This is like a double stigma, and the hypervigilance that comes when you're caring for someone who's in this situation. I'm in a situation like this right now. 49% of us are in the red. What about youngers? A ton of young people who are in elementary school are in this role. You know why? Because multi-generational families are making intelligent decisions based on who needs to make the money and who needs to be where and who needs to watch over a great uncle or whoever the person or individual might be or neighbor. And folks are staying home from school, and certainly between 18 and 24. So I'll just call your direction. That campaign on the right, 66% of the folks who responded were in the red. And we used athletes just to demonstrate to folks, oh, you think athletes have it all going on? They do. That's why all this work gets put on them. They're not doing this because they're athletes. So we're going to get our score together right now. Ready? Pull out your phone and use your QR code magic mechanism. And I'm going to come over here while you do that and run it. And thank goodness you're here because I'll probably screw this up. Let me know when you've got it, and I will narrate. We're going to go fast. How are we doing with time, by the way?
Good.
Okay. So, because we've got another hour. So I'm going to go in right here when you guys tell me that you're good to go. For the most part, everyone has it? Okay, here we go. Just very quickly, 84-year-old, adorable, delicious father. Child applying to college, very bad idea. I hurled something against the wall the other day. It was soft, it was not at a person. And a situation where a family member who's not a close family member, but of course family, recently lost their house because of a combination of things. I'm not going to close it. I'm going to do this. So, what's my score? Am I caring for a relative or friend 18 years or older? Any care counts? Yes, I am. A child or teenager under the age of 18? Yes, I am. The situation can be unpredictable and unstable. Yes. There was 2 other folks from Archangels who were supposed to be here. Neither of them are, because of a situation in their life that was actually related to the Lubbock, Texas cybersecurity and a 9-year-old who ended up with a really, really bad health situation. Don't know what to select, hard to plan ahead. Yes. Have I had to cut down on my own expenses? No, because my honey and I are still working. But think of this situation on the West Coast and this family this extended family that lost their house. Do you think we're handling this well as a family? No. We are having disagreements about people not doing enough to help. We are having disagreements about people not spending enough time with the person or people they're providing care to. I wouldn't say I feel underprepared, but I wouldn't say I feel prepared. I always feel I should be doing more. Show me a caregiver who's like, oh, I've got this, I'm doing enough. I don't think I have more than I can handle, but I don't think I don't. I do feel very supported by friends, neighbors, or family. This matters a lot. I do have someone I can turn to for support. I have no freaking idea how to navigate the health insurance benefits, and this is my full-time job. I could help you guys, can't do it for myself. It's like I'm comatose, don't know how to manage a financial situation, but I do feel I'm doing a really good thing. This is important, pay attention to that, put that in your belly. Feeling a sense of purpose in what you're doing matters. I think I am learning to cope with what's going on. I think I'm becoming confident in my ability. I have no life at all. I don't get to do a lot of the things I take pleasure in other than care for my delicious dad and my kids. I do not have as much personal freedom. I wouldn't say I feel depressed, but you saw how many folks do. I'm so stressed out I'm losing my hair, or that could be menopause. My daughter just gave me hair oil and suggested I use it. Thanks, daughter. I sometimes do feel manipulated. I sometimes resent what I have to do. I am working full-time for pay. I've definitely missed more work than normal. I'm definitely less productive. My employer does give me a lot of flexibility, and I do get support. Finish. I'm going to say no thanks, just bring me to my score, but if you want to register and track your scores over time, you can. Doing nothing probably feels like a break, and we're guessing you could use one. I am a 65. I'm going to X this out, because the thing that matters the most in this situation, we just primed you. We got in your body all those things you know you're feeling that you probably forgot about, even though most of you got a text or a call already today from someone asking you a question to help them with something they're doing in their lives, so that was you being an unpaid caregiver. Here are the things that are available right now to help. Again, are they perfect? No, but they are something. Let's say my issue is money. These are available for free. Love you, New Cortland, for doing this with us. Mwah. Anyone else who wants to play with us on this, please do. If the issue is money, here are places to start. Navigating money and benefits, here are places to start. What about those social determinants? Guys, food, start here. Is it perfect? No, but start here. Transportation, available for free for anyone. How about state by state? Maybe you need support outside of Philadelphia. All right, let's think of my situation. It's in Texas. This is the stuff where you can start with in Texas, available for free for anybody. Again, is it perfect? No, but it is something. So how do I minimize? How do I minimize? You guys are the best. Okay, How much time do I have exactly?
You can go on for another 10 minutes.
Ooh, this is so exciting. Okay. So very quickly, what we just talked about is the importance of navigating people to these resources. So when we do what we can, we had a partner, they had 3 sites, 3 employers they were working with. They said, if you can get 8% of folks to get their score, you will be the most extraordinary humans we've ever seen. That first one, it was a one-touch campaign. It's a city employees, 13% got their score. And if you look over there, it was a third of those other 2 populations. And then you look around the bottom, 45% in the red for those city employees. Thank goodness we found them. And 32% navigated to resources right there in that minute. Please don't just do surveys. Those are hit and runs. Please don't just ask all the people in your company or your community, how are you doing? Is everything sucky? Sucks. Thanks for the data. Good luck with that. Right? Do what we just did. When you have someone and they're finally paying attention to you for a second, take that precious soul and navigate them to resources as fast as you freaking can. Do you know who that is? That's New Cortland. How did New Cortland do this? 20% of New Cortland folks are in the red. Why? Because you just heard Joe. You know the New Cortland folks because they are moshing their people with love. You can talk about being in the caregiver all day long at New Cortland. It is not only destigmatized, it is celebrated. 47% of these 66% of folks who got their score navigate over to resources that exist, write them for them. New Cortland, I love you. And they're shameless hustlers. They are running campaigns everywhere. You might have already seen posters, right? Or there's little care cards, you name it. They're gonna find you wherever you are. People aren't sitting at their computer all the time waiting for stuff. Go find them in the messy realities of their lives. And when you do, you're gonna find a ton of data, even more data, even more data. We are data geeks. Data is hot. It helps you use data-informed action, which you can do. These are roadmaps for how to support people. And it does work. This is an independent investigation by NIAM, New York Academy of Medicine. 50% of caregivers in the red get out, and the percent in the clear increased by 2. I have so many more outcomes, but blah, 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 because I want to get to this, which is, does anyone know what this is? These are challenge coins. Anyone here in the military? Challenge coins are all about celebrating service. What did we just talk about? Service. Who is in service? Unpaid caregivers. In deeply gorgeous service. So we have a partnership with the Joint Commission that celebrates the act of care, and our whole obsession is translating those skills. When you are an unpaid caregiver, you're doing unbelievable tasks. And we live in a care economy. These are the individuals who know how to care. And those skills that they develop over time, they need to be reinforced. We got to get them to as many skills as we can, help them get training, but then also help them when that situation is over, or they can breathe or go back to work, translate those skills into upward mobility. Do you know how many gorgeous individuals are out there with unbelievable skills and they think, oh, I've never had a job? Yes, you have. You've had an incredible job. So how do we translate those skills into upward mobility? It's our partnership with the Joint Commission. These are the extraordinary souls. We did a pilot. We always believe try it out first before you launch it. It was launched formally about 3 weeks ago. But all these folks on it, look right there. Thank you, New Cortland. They're the ones who went out there to see how crazy were we in doing it. And we were kind of crazy. And I'll show you some of the stuff that we just got patently wrong. But to go to the Care Badge, go to thecarebadge.com. I'm going to try it again. What's going to happen? Yay! Are you the one taking care of everyone else? It can be intense. Get your badge. Now, where are you going to put that badge? On your LinkedIn, on your resume, on social media. Be shameless hustlers. It also says print it out and put it on your fridge, but I'm afraid to press any buttons, so I'm not going to keep scrolling. How do you get your badge? Just before you get badged to your email, let's go. And let's look at how you do this. And then I'm going to show you guys the best story, and then I'm going to wrap. Care badges for you or someone you know in this role. Once you enter it once, you can come back as many times as you want. Watch what you need, link to what helps, download your badge. These are the top drivers. Here, do you see this theme again? Managing money. Let's click through. It's a 2-minute video, tips, tricks, and hacks. Or just click through on that. You know, I just need to know how to manage money because I'm in this role. There's benefits.gov. There's benefits checkup. Again, constantly finding folks, helping to celebrate them, and then navigating them to stuff that exists. I'm going to minimize. Look at me learning. Okay, so here's the experience. This is what is hysterical. We did this because we really wanted people to feel beautiful and gorgeous in their role. Look at this quote. I got mine. I'm the caregiver for a 77-year-old dialysis patient. We also wanted to create this upward mobility track, right? Worked. That was great. But you know what we missed because we're such super dorks? What do caregivers want to do? Do they want to get? Most caregivers are not really focused on themselves, are they? They're not called care-getters. They're caregivers. So what we completely missed as we were designing the Care Badge is how it actually, 60% of folks who use the care badge, they give it to someone else. Here, Mom, I give you a care badge for taking care of me so unselfishly, helping me to get well, being understanding and caring towards my progress and recovery, plus the other problems. Love you. The virtual care badge, by the way, is free for anyone right now. Go use it. Free, free, free. Spread that love. Organizations like New Cortland making it available for free to all of their employees who are so beautifully in this role, recognizing it. And here's another one we weren't smart enough to see. Someone said to us, you know what, I love this. I want to use this to hang a shingle. I want everyone in the world to know I have been in this role. Come to me. When you want to dig your fingernails into your thighs or stab everybody around you, come talk to me. I can help you. I have been there. And then we've got folks who are giving these medallions out. Unbelievable the things you read about and hear as people go through this process together and gift it to other folks in their lives, and they want to be loud and proud about it. And this is my favorite story. This is Bernita. It was 2 weeks ago, Monday night, 2 weeks ago. I'm running through the airport in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm late. I think I'm gonna miss my plane. Plane's delayed. There's a bar. I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get some Prosecco and fries before I get on that plane. And the woman who was there was so kind and so warm. Look at her face. And I had this cute belt on, and she had a cute belt on, and we totally bonded about her belt. And then our jewelry, and we just were falling in love with each other. And I was like, Bernita, let me ask you a question. Are you the one everyone turns to? She's like, oh. And she told me like 18,000 stories about all the people in her life who depend on her. Get on the plane, I texted her the picture. I wrote, you rock. She said, you're so sweet, thanks for badging me, because I gave her a physical medallion. Because we make these available at cost for people as well. This is a physical medallion. This is what a challenge coin looks like, and I gave her one. And this is what happened the next morning. Hanging out with Big Mama now. She's the glorious one, 93 years old. Every morning before work, I didn't think about it until I met you. Caring is my life. It's a blessing to be able to help. Thanks for making me feel special. Love you. Every morning she goes to take care of Big Mama. She didn't think she was an unpaid caregiver. She was just a good daughter, right? And then she's got this, and she's already passed it on to someone else. So, in closing, 2 things. 1, please do put your own air mask on before helping others. But there's something else we can do together as well, which is when you are an unpaid caregiver, do any of you wave your arms around and yell, hey, I'm an unpaid caregiver, come help me? No. When my kids were learning to swim, my mom called me every single day to tell me that drowning does not always look like drowning. She said, you've got this vision in your head that your kids are like, I'm drowning. They're not, because when you're physically drowning, your body is conserving energy, and your arms are going straight down or straight up, and you are quietly slipping under the water. And so what I'd say to all of us, right? Unpaid caregivers are not asking for help, and they are drowning. And in the process of us recognizing this, let's be lifeguards. Let's scan the horizon constantly and find these beautiful souls and throw them a life ring. And when you do, I'm gonna ask you one other favor. Please do not ever go up to a caregiver and say, hey, you're a caregiver, thanks for what you're doing. How can I help? Because you know what they're gonna say? I'm good, I got this. Because they're so overwhelmed. Yes, they don't know what to ask for, so help them get their score. You can get it for free on Archangel's site and say, let's get our score together right now. I can see what's going on. I'm gonna help you with these things. And then give them a freaking care badge and say, thank you so much for what you're doing. And so therefore, in closing, I'm gonna give 2 care badges away. Joe, where are you? This one is for you, if you're in here. Because Joe, you are a rock. Thank you, as you described. And I wanna give Mary, come up here, I wanna give you a care badge too. Because Mary cares so fiercely, as you guys know. Cared for me a million times. How many times have we cried together? Thank you, and thank you. Deeply grateful for the great honor of being on the stage with you guys today. Thank you.